I walked into the Apple store one morning not too long ago. My phone had recently started having problems, and I figured somebody at the Apple store would know what to do. It was a weekend, so there were people everywhere. I walked inside and wanted to find somebody to help me. As I approached the counter, I realized there was only one guy available. All of the other employees were occupied with either helping people work an iPhone or angry customers getting their screens fixed. Unfortunately, this worker didn't seem to have very many social cues or good hygiene. He had an odd build, messy hair, and a super shaggy beard. His eyes darted around nervously, making me wonder what was going on in his mind. The way he carried himself seemed a bit off, like he didn't quite fit in and was well aware. I caught a whiff of an odor, a combination of sweat and something else I couldn't quite pinpoint, and it didn't help that we were inches away from each other. I handed my iPhone to him, hoping for a quick and simple fix. I'd come to the store because my phone had been acting up, freezing, and shutting down unexpectedly. It was frustrating, and I needed it to be functional for my daily tasks and communication. I assumed it was just getting old, and I was hoping maybe just the battery would need replacing. After dropping off my phone, I left the store hoping to put the encounter behind me. It was really awkward, and like I said, something about the guy just seemed off, more than just somebody who was a little shy or awkward. But as luck would have it, the same guy was there when I went to pick up my phone. I sighed heavily as I realized I would have to deal with him again. When he handed me my phone back, I noticed his demeanor had become more weird, which I didn't think it could get any worse, to be honest. But it did very fast. His gaze lingered too long as his hand reached out, waiting for me to take my phone, all while giving me a smirk. It was giving me the impression that he had invaded my privacy, and I was right. The following days turned into a living nightmare as he began harassing me through messages and calls. It was as if he had become obsessed with me, using information he must have got from my phone. He started texting me the same night after I got home, and I didn't know who it was at first until he told me. Over text, I asked him how he had gotten my number, but he ignored the question. It was pretty obvious though. He had my phone in his hands. He moved on to asking if I wanted to hang out. He then started bringing up things that were personal, like other family members I had or pets that I had, things that he got from looking through what was on my phone. He then started calling me, which I never answered. I became paranoid and was afraid this guy was going to show up at my house or something. I had lots of information on my phone. I decided to block him. The situation reached its peak when, sure enough, he showed up unannounced at my house. This was about a week after I had picked up my phone from the Apple store. I was by myself one night when I just heard the sound of somebody walking up to the front step. I was already in the living room, which has a window looking out front. The man didn't see me, but I saw him. He walked right up to the front door. The sight of him standing there, his presence overwhelming, sent a wave of panic through me. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what. He knocked on the door. I did not get up to answer it. I never considered calling the police. I know I should have, but I didn't. The thought just didn't occur to me for some reason. I was there, ducking down in front of my couch. The man stayed there at my front door. He waited for a while, and then he knocked again. I stayed where I was. Then my phone started ringing. It was from a new number that I didn't recognize. I did not answer it, and soon there was a new voicemail. I nervously decided to listen to it as I was still there, and the man still stood outside my front door. When I played the voicemail, it was the man whispering. He said that he knew I was inside and I should let him in. That's when finally the thought to call the police came to me. I dialed 911 right there. As I was speaking with the operator, the man actually tried opening the front door. He remained at the front of the house for a while, and then he called me again. I didn't answer this time either. He then turned and walked away. After he left, about 5 minutes later, the police got there. I spoke with them and told them the whole story. Then I realized that he had left me another phone message. In the message, he told me that he would be back, and when he came back, he was coming inside the house no matter what. Luckily, that didn't happen. The police were able to find him based on his job and the information that I had given them. This ended one of the most terrifying experiences for me. So there I was, heading to the Apple store with my iPhone acting all wonky. As I stepped inside, it felt like there were security guards everywhere, probably to keep an eye on all of the expensive merchandise. The place was jam-packed, customers swarming around, checking out the latest tech. As I looked around the store, I noticed this one man right away. He seemed to be in his late 30s, with messy facial hair and a kind of rough look. He kept looking around with a lot of nervousness, like he was really on edge. What caught my attention, though, was his choice of clothing. While everyone seemed to blend into the bustling crowd, he stood out like a sore thumb. He wore a faded black hoodie, hood pulled up despite how warm it was. It was an odd choice that raised an alarm in my intuition. I saw this guy then grab a kid in the Apple store. The kid looked about 6 or 7 years old and seemed scared. They were holding hands, but something felt off. It's like I was the only one who noticed. Everyone else was busy with their gadgets, but I just had the feeling that something wasn't right, and I'm never wrong about stuff like this. It seemed like nobody else truly noticed, not even the security guards. Without thinking twice, I rushed over to stop him from leaving with the child. As I got closer, my heart was pounding, and I could feel the urgency growing. The man looked nervous, his grip tightened on the child's hand. I knew I had to act fast before he could escape. I trusted myself and shouted, "Hey, let go of the child!" My voice cut through the noise, and people started turning their heads to see what was happening. Caught off guard, probably thinking that not a single human would notice that he took a child, the man hesitated for a moment and then let go of the child's hand. He then made a run for it. Relieved that the child was safe, I knelt down and asked them if they were okay. They looked a bit stunned, but nodded while hugging me. By now, the security guards had realized something was going on. I quickly gave them a description of the man, telling them how he had just run off. The chaos settled, and the child was safe. This happened a while ago. I headed down to the Apple store, all hyped up, ready to get my hands on the latest iPhone. As I stepped inside the store, my excitement quickly turned into disbelief, though. The place was packed, full of people trying to get the new iPhone 11. I knew it might be hard to get, but I had to try, and I felt like I had a pretty good shot. The line of people snaked around the aisles, and it was a pretty crazy sight. I got in line, knowing this day was going to be a drag, but well worth it if I got the phone. Hours ended up passing by, and I stood there, shifting my weight from foot to foot, trying to distract myself from the fact that I had been there for so long. Finally, at last, my turn came. I made my way to the counter and was actually able to get the new iPhone. But then, another thought struck me. Why settle for just the phone when I could buy more Apple products while I'm here? Making dumb financial decisions at the time, I added a laptop and a tablet to my purchase. After all, if I was going all in, why not go big? The total cost made me cringe, I'm not gonna lie. With my arms full of Apple products, I stepped out of the store feeling on top of the world. As I walked down the street, my mind was just thinking about setting up and using what I had just bought. However, I did notice two figures following behind me in the shadows as it was already 8 p.m. and completely pitch dark out. I didn't know who it was, but I didn't want to find out either, so I picked up my pace, trying to create some distance between us. Whoever it was, they both seemed like they were following me. After a while, they seemed to get closer and closer. I was getting kind of nervous. There were also hardly any other people around anymore. I started almost coming to a full sprint with the Apple bag in my hands. Then, suddenly, the strangers made their move. They lunged at me, grabbing towards my bag, and instincts took over. There was a bit of a struggle, but I found myself fighting back, throwing punches, and doing my best to defend what I had. In the middle of this 1v3 brawl, I had a realization wash over me. Here I was, putting up a fight, risking harm and damage, all for a few Apple products. I had to make a choice between my safety and a couple of pieces of technology. In that crucial moment, as my fist swung and the struggle intensified, I made a heartbreaking decision. To that point, I had never gotten into a fight before, only wrestled some older siblings in the past. But this was a way different experience. They were beating the pulp out of me, so I knew what I had to do. I let go of the Apple bag. I released my grip on the very thing I had worked so hard to obtain. But I knew it was the right thing to do because losing my life was way more valuable than an overpriced camera with a phone attached to it. The thugs snatched my Apple products and they ran out of sight as I stood there, battered and bruised, but alive. I continued my journey home and the realization of what had just happened sunk in. When I finally reached a mirror, I took a moment to assess myself. I had a busted lip and some various bruises and cuts. Really, I just felt lucky to be alive though. I'm glad the men stopped beating me when I gave up the products. Obviously, I reported everything, but never heard back about it, so I think whoever did it is likely still out there.